Hi, I'm Laura Lawton with Lawton Printing Services. Welcome to Candidate Confidential. We're happy to have you join us. We're happy to join Spokane Talks Online for this important civic service. The Lawton team has been serving the Inland Northwest for over 77 years. What keeps us motivated is the continuous evolution of our company to better serve the clients we work with every day. We are also fortunate to have so many people willing to step up to serve our communities. Being a candidate and civil servant is too often a thankless job. I know you join me in thanking these forward-thinking individuals for their dedication to us all. With that, I thank you for taking the time to learn more about the people who want to lead our communities. Enjoy the debate and give Lawton a call for any of your marketing, printing, or mailing needs. Thank you.
Hi, on behalf of Spokane Talks Online, welcome to Candidate Confidential. And today we're joined by Caleb Collier and Brandi Peetz. And they are running for the City of Spokane Valley, position number 2, City Council. And welcome, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. And we'll be right back and get into these issues.
Hi, I'm Laura Lawton with Lawton Printing Services. Welcome to Candidate Confidential. We're happy to have you join us. We're happy to join Spokane Talks Online for this important civic service. The Lawton team has been serving the Inland Northwest for over 77 years. What keeps us motivated is the continuous evolution of our company to better serve the clients we work with every day. We are also fortunate to have so many people willing to step up to serve our communities. Being a candidate and civil servant is too often a thankless job. I know you join me in thanking these forward-thinking individuals for their dedication to us all. With that, I thank you for taking the time to learn more about the people who want to lead our communities. Enjoy the debate and give Lawton a call for any of your marketing, printing, or mailing needs. Thank you.
Proposition 2 is not about politics. It's about protecting Spokane's economy.
I'm opposed to Proposition 2.
I'm opposed to Prop 2.
I'm opposed to Proposition 2.
Proposition 2 just doesn't make sense.
I am opposing Proposition 2.
I'm against Proposition 2.
I'm opposed to Proposition 2.
I'm opposed to Prop 2 because we have to protect Spokane's economy.
And we're back, and we're going to start right away with Caleb. And let's talk about law enforcement and crime. Where do you see the city going right now with that?
So public safety is the highest priority for Spokane Valley. 60% of our budget goes to public safety. That's on average about, actually for the 2018 budget, it's about $25.6 million that we're allocating towards public safety. The sheriff's contract is right around $20 million of that. So this is something that we put a lot of emphasis on. It's the number one priority for Spokane Valley. We have to keep our citizens safe. We have to keep their property safe. A lot of people are exploring different options, different ideas for how we encourage recruitment and retainment for our police officers. I'm actually working with our police chief currently to explore some options. I've introduced during a council meeting the idea of the city actually coming alongside our police department and purchasing some vehicles for them. Some of these vehicles that they have are upwards of 200,000 miles on them, so they're really starting to get beat up. A new vehicle costs about $36,000, all outfitted. I've recommended to Spokane Valley City Council that we purchase 3 of them. Another way that we're going about really aligning with our police department is I took a tour of our precinct, and they had right around $4,500 needed for a rehab, and that's something that I've also encouraged our city council to vote for and to support. I've also had an idea of bringing about some type of a stipend for recruitment and retainment of our police officers, and that's still in the works. But Spokane Valley, we work very hard with our police department in order to keep our citizens safe. Another great example of this is we just purchased a $100,000 generator for our police department. So, we're on the ball with this. We're really working hard to continue it.
Okay, Brandi, what do you say about that?
Like he said, 3/4 of our budget is with public safety, and it definitely is one of the most biggest things that we have facing our community. And like he had brought up, they definitely do need a little bit more money as far as the budget is concerned, but I know that they had just gotten done doing contract negotiations. And so for me, one of the criticisms that I have is they have the surplus money that they just rolled over, and they could have put that towards the sheriff's contract that they just negotiated. But also at the same time, we do have positions that haven't been filled. And so, as he had mentioned, the stipend and things of that sort, it's not really something that we can do as a council. They would have to go through their union for that. But we could use some of that surplus money to help supplement that. Also, it's kind of unfortunate because they do get paid less than, city officers and state patrol as well. But they do a great job. We get a good bang for our buck as far as our public safety is concerned. They do an amazing job, and our community has voiced that opinion as well. Something else that he had mentioned is the car vehicles, and I wasn't on the council, so I can't speak to what the conversations were, but I have heard that they had looked into some vehicles that they were going to purchase that would have saved taxpayers a little bit of money. So just being a little bit more responsible about how we're spending the money and how we're acquiring some of these extra amenities is something we definitely need to look into. But working with our police chief is great, but we also need to work with our sheriff, considering we are a contract city and he is in charge. So, and that's something that the council is not currently doing, would be another one of my criticisms. And so, just making sure that we're reaching out to all the different municipalities and kind of finding out what works for them, what doesn't work for them, and kind of, finding out what would work best for the city of Spokane Valley.
Do you see the recruitment of police officers out there as an issue?
I wouldn't say the recruitment is an issue. It's the money that I've heard is the main issue, and that's because they don't get paid as much. But I do personally know a lot of our Spokane Valley officers, and they're very happy where they're at. The community treats them well, and they do feel as though they get treated well from their superiors as well.
Okay, and Caleb, Brandi mentioned about more communication with the sheriff. How would you
I'd like to correct a few things she said, actually. The surplus that she was referring to is our general fund, our general budget. So we had $3 million surplus. And so some of the ideas that I was talking about, the $36,000 for per vehicle for purchase, is coming out of that surplus. So we are being conscious with the extra money that we have. Secondly, as far as a relationship with our sheriff, we just renewed the contract. We understand that we get a great bang for our buck with this contract. We're a contract city. That's how we save so much money. And so to suggest that we don't have a good relationship with the sheriff is false. We do. We want him to continue business in our city.
Brandi?
I would disagree with that. But, just going out and talking to our sheriff and having meetings with him would probably be beneficial for our city, and not just talking to our police chief, since the sheriff has a little bit more jurisdiction, I guess I would say. He's definitely in charge. But with that being said, there are a lot of things that they are doing good, and I'm not criticizing that at all. I just feel like I would take a different approach, and being that I have the criminal justice background, unlike the other council members, I have both sides of the perspectives figured out. I've been a citizen, and I've also been on the other side. I used to be a 911 operator. So, I've seen it from both ways. And, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that, normal citizens don't realize. And so kind of having that perspective in my mind would be really well, or work really well for the council.
Well, Caleb mentioned taking a little bit of that surplus money, the $3 million, and buying police vehicles, capital expense there. Correct me if I'm wrong, I understand you may want to put more into bonuses and things like that
we can't do bonuses.
Okay.
But there is that surplus money, and they could have added that into the contract. And so if they thought that was something that was important, they could have added it in there, and they did not. So,
and you would have
yes
done that. About how much of that do you think you would have done?
As far as numbers are concerned, I'm newer to politics, and so I don't have the numbers figured out. But as far as knowing how things work and how to better use those funds, I know where we're lacking as far as amenities are concerned.
Okay, Caleb, do you add to that?
She talks about the fact that she has a criminal justice background. I have field application with our police department. I worked 6.5 years with AMR, the local ambulance company. So I've been on scene with our police officers more times than I can remember, to be honest. For site calls, for blood draws, anything of those natures. I've been on scene with them, so I have a very good working relationship with many of our police officers, and I fully appreciate and understand the job that they're doing.
Brandi, you have that background too.
Yes, well, and a lot of people would say that 911 are not first responders, but we definitely are. We're the first on scene, essentially. I mean, we're fielding the calls, we're fielding them out to whether it needs to go to AMR or our fire dispatchers or police dispatchers. And so we're talking to the citizens where, the fire dispatchers or the police dispatchers don't normally encounter, citizens as much as 911 does. I think it's great that he was an AMR employee. It's a very hard job. It's not for everybody. But being that I also sit on the Citizens Advisory Board with the Sheriff's Office, I've done a lot of volunteer work as far as criminal justice is concerned. So therefore, I also have a degree in that as well. So being that I've done lots of ride-alongs with our sheriff and have a good working relationship, I just feel as though I have a little bit better perspective.
Okay, well, let's move on to utilities and taxes, and we'll start with you, Brandi. I know there's a telephone tax out there that's dwindling. How would we replace that?
There's been a lot of talk about this, and I don't know that there's an end-all be-all answer to that. But quite frankly, in my opinion, I feel like this is something we should take to the voters. There's definitely the transportation benefit district. They have the property tax, the sales tax, and then the tab fees. And I know that Airway Heights and the city of Spokane have done some of those things. So we definitely need to work with our other municipalities and find out what's working for them. Also, I think it's important for us to include the community as they are the ones paying the taxes. And I really feel like it should be up to them what they feel we should do. So we can, do the research and, get all sides of the issues and put it to a vote.
Okay, Caleb, what do you think about that?
So one of the stark contrasts I'm noticing right off the bat is all of her ideas increase your taxes. Whereas for me, I'm taking a no new tax pledge. So I pledge to the citizens of Spokane Valley that for the 2 years that this term is, I will not vote to raise your taxes. So as far as the utility tax goes, I was immediately opposed to this. I don't believe that it was the proper time to bring it out. I believe it's a regressive tax. And so I would have voted no against it. It ended up being pulled because of outpouring of citizens that really were angry about the idea. In regards to that, I received almost 400 emails, all in opposition to this tax. And I went through and I answered every single one of them. And I didn't just cut and paste. I individually answered every single person who wrote me. And it took like 3 or 4 weeks, honestly, to get it all done. But I wanted to address their concerns. And so as far as the road tax goes, because that's really what this comes down to, is how are we going to pay for our streets, our pavement preservation? We actually currently don't know the exact number that we need. We had a shakeup in Public Works, and so we're still waiting to find out the exact numbers that we need for our street maintenance and pavement preservation. But for our 2018 budget right now, we've got our revenue, our projected revenue for it is just shy of $5 million, where our expenditures are only about $4.1 million. So for our 2018 budget, we're working with a surplus.
Brandi?
Well, as he mentioned, I'm definitely not about raising taxes. I think it's up to our community who pays the taxes to make those decisions. We are in a leadership position, but we also need to listen to our constituents. So with that being said, personally, I just feel like the 6% utility tax would really be hard on our vulnerable citizens in our community. I know after speaking with several business owners and some of the people who are in utilities that already half of their people have disconnect notices. If we raise the utility tax by 6%, I mean, these people already can't pay their utilities. I mean, we need to be helping our citizens, for one. For two, as far as the preservation is concerned, I know I wasn't able to attend the budget retreat, but I did get a packet, and the road preservation wasn't even on the agenda. If it was something that was important to them, they should have probably put that in the agenda and had some, solutions for that. Also, I know that for every dollar spent, we save $8 later. That's been proven. So why are we not fixing these things now? I feel like saying that we don't have the numbers, isn't enough. We should be doing things now and things that we do know about, and being part of the solution.
Caleb, why don't we have the numbers now?
As I mentioned before, we had a shakeup with Public Works,
Okay.
some restructuring, and so the numbers that we were actually receiving didn't end up being correct. A great example of this is the Barker grade separation project. The original price tag for this was $36 million. I actually am proud to say I led opposition to this, and lo and behold, the new projected cost is about $20 million. Considerable savings for our taxpayers. So that's an example of really what we're dealing with this shakeup with Public Works. And she mentioned the budget retreat. Well, the reason why nobody brought up the road maintenance is because we didn't have the exact numbers for it. So we're still waiting to find out exactly how much money we need to be putting into this before we can actually tackle the issue.
Okay, Brandi?
I don't feel like you need to have the numbers in order to have a conversation about our roads. I mean, it's very important. We don't want our roads to look like other cities, and we want to tackle it now. We used to have a PCI, which is a pavement condition index, of 71. I believe it's now less than 70, if I remember correctly. Also, as far as the preservation is concerned, I mean, we do have those surplus funds. We could be putting those into other projects. And, you know, he mentioned the price tag on the Barker separation. Well, of course, the tag went down because some of the changes were made. Some things were taken out of that project. So, you know, it's a really hard subject to talk about because, you know, it's definitely something that's important for us as a city, but we should be talking about this now, not before we get numbers.
Okay, well, let's move on to vision. And we'll start with Caleb. Where do you see the city in 5 years?
You know, this city is going to continue with the projected direction that Spokane Valley City Council, the current council, the direction we're moving. We are one of the most fiscally sound cities in the entire state of Washington. We are, you know, currently we have basically our non-voted bond is only at 10.5%. Our total debt capacity is only at 2.1%. These are numbers that are unheard of for a city our size. Brandi talked about our streets with how well they're funded. You know, anybody can drive into Spokane and see, you know, the problem with the streets here. You drive down here, you need an alignment. Spokane Valley, we put a great emphasis on our roads, and we're going to continue doing that. That's a 5-year plan. We're going to maintain that so that our streets are nice and smooth. Spokane is the second largest city in the state of Washington, and they still have dirt roads out here. Spokane Valley is the 10th largest city, and our streets are smooth because there's a great emphasis on that. We're also going to expand our industrial park and bring a lot of revenue into our city. Part of taking that no new tax pledge, well, you have to find another way in order to increase your revenue. The best way to do that is to bring businesses in. That's our plan in order to bring businesses into our industrial park. Barker grade separation is going to definitely help with that.
Okay, Brandi, where do you see the city in 5 years?
Well, as he had mentioned, you know, bringing businesses into Spokane Valley is definitely something that we should be looking into. You know, it plays a part in the economic development, and that's definitely an important issue. And one of the things that have been brought up at a forum we just attended is, you know, you can go to Garland District, you can go to Perry Street. Why do we not have that in the Valley? Well, there's a reason. A lot of the business owners I've talked to don't feel that the Valley is a very business-friendly place. And, you know, I can't say the specifics because, like I said, I'm not on the council. I'm not privy to that information. But some of the business owners I've talked to said, you know, if I really wanted my business to fail, I would go to the Valley. And that's terrible for them to say. And so we need to make a bigger effort to try to bring those amazing businesses that are in the city of Spokane to be in the Valley. I mean, the Valley is a great place, but we've also got to make a name for ourselves as well. You know, whether we have to do farmers markets or, you know, have a friendly atmosphere. I think what they do with Valley Fest is amazing. Bringing people there, and it's a family-friendly event. It's free. You know, people who couldn't afford it otherwise are able to come in and see what the Valley has to offer. It's great for our small businesses and things of that nature. And I think we need to continue doing things like that and bringing those businesses to the Valley.
Yeah, so more business, more energy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I want to get more people educated as well. You know, knocking on doors, I've realized some people don't even know that we're a city. You know, getting ourselves out there and being more seen and interacting with our community members, instead of having them come to us, we need to go where they are. whether it be having more town hall meetings that are at times when people aren't working, or whether we have, picnic lunches is something one of my other friends had mentioned that's running for council. There's lots of things that we could be doing. There's a lot of good ideas, a lot of great ideas that we could be doing and we're not utilizing.
Okay. Caleb, what do you think about what Brandi just said?
I don't know the businesses that she's talking to, because we are siphoning off businesses left and right from Spokane. They're coming into Spokane Valley. We have a lower tax rate. We don't have a utility tax. Businesses like doing work in a city where basically the idea behind Spokane Valley is we get out of your way. We recently redid the comp plan. We got rid of a lot of burdensome and needless plans, and so the city is actually really poised to attract as many businesses as we possibly can, and really just grow. The city's at a great growth rate right now.
Brandi, what do you say?
I'm going out and talking to people and kind of meeting them where they're at, and that's just what I've been told from numerous businesses. I don't know that that's a popular opinion, but I've definitely heard it from quite a few people. So for me personally, I would like to go out and talk to more business friendly people and just say, hey, what could we be doing as a city to help you out? Is there something? And I know the building permits is a huge issue too. Some people sat with rent-free buildings and were waiting on their permits, and then by the time they got their permits, they were having to start paying rent. We should be helping these folks. They're helping our city. We should be helping them also. Like I said, there's not an end-all, be-all solution for everything, but we should at least be going out into the community, talking to our community, and finding out what it is we can do to help them.
Okay, well, thank you. Both of you did a great job with the questions, and we're going to do our closing statements now.
Okay.
And we're going to start with Caleb, and you have a minute here.
All right. I'm Caleb Collier, and I'm your Spokane Valley City Councilman. I served my country in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years. I served as an EMT for the community for 6.5 years. I have a long track record of serving my country and my community. I'm a fiscal conservative. I've promised to not raise taxes, and I would humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb. And Brandi, you have a minute for your closing statement.
I'm Brandi Peetz. I'm running for Spokane Valley City Council, position number 2. I've been in this community for over 26 years. My husband was born and raised here as well. We hope to raise our family and have some children here as well. This community is my passion. I've volunteered many years in many different organizations. I graduated from SEC, and I was vice president of my student government. I was elected. I got to talk to some of our legislators and do some good work here in our valley. I also got an academic scholarship to Gonzaga University, where I was able to obtain my criminal justice degree, which has also been my passion. I've been doing that for several years. I sit on the Citizens Advisory Board for the Sheriff's Office, and volunteer work is definitely something that I'm passionate about. I love our community. I want to stay here, and I want to make sure that you guys feel that your voice is being heard and that we're going out to you and doing what we should be doing as leaders for our community. I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thanks, Brandi. Well, thank you, Caleb Collier and Brandi Peetz, both running for City Council in the City of Spokane Valley, position number 2. So thank you for joining us. Great discussion. And thank you for joining us, and go out and vote.